What's up? I'm Amelia. We are in Tokyo, Japan with Weiss MFG and Weiss Factory Racing. We are doing a tour here to kind of meet the local community, do some racing, explore the city, ride around, and just have a good time. Okay, so we got the Weiss Hammer Track tie in a custom geo. One of my favorite things about the geo of the bike is it is a little bit more relaxed, which leads to very comfortable long days in the saddle while still being pretty aggressive and fast during a race. For the build spec, we've got Weiss rims laced to Raketa hubs, branded Weiss, 24-hole spoke count, 28C GP 5000 tires, tubed, not tubeless. Got a KMC wide superlight chain, I believe that's it. We got some Weiss tie bottle cages, anodized to kind of match the frame. The 2024 Factory Racing Team scheme, which is corn inspired, with a heavy gold flake and some nice detailing where you have a nice tie reveal, some blasted titanium. With the cockpit, we've got the Zip SL Aero 70 bars in 40 centimeters, in 100 millimeter Thompson X4 stem, 0 degrees, uncut steer tube, Weiss top cap, Specialized Power Mimic saddle. This is my favorite saddle I've ever used. I love it. Thompson seat post, setback. We've got a Silka extra large saddlebag. Lizard skin bar tape with some rips because I crashed. And then we got the Sagino 75 direct drive cranks, 165 millimeter, and a 49 tooth chain ring. I just got this new pedal system set up and I'm really enjoying it. We've got retrogression cages with MKS straps and MKS pedals. I forget the exact type of pedal. I've got a 17 tooth cog on the back and then a 15 on the other side to flip it over if I want. It's fixed. Unsymmetrical seat stays in the back. This is Weiss's signature style. It also provides a stiffer rear triangle, so when you get up to sprint, you can really feel that rear triangle. Nice little bridge. And yeah, that's my bike. It's been pretty cool so far. We went to Bike Lore this weekend, which was I would call it like a bike festival almost, where you had a lot of different types of cross races and gravel races and different vendors selling food and bike merchandise. And I was there racing a criterium, which was pretty fun. It was a pretty short course. I think the whole course was probably like, I don't know, 1K maybe. It was 20 minutes. It was a very narrow course, narrower than the street we're riding on here. It was a bit bumpy with cracks and, divots and different kind of things that you had to avoid. Also the lighting at the certain time of day, it made it so that when you were coming around one of the turns, it was a bit difficult to see, which I found to be an interesting feature of the race. There were 4 women in my field, including me, my teammate Brittany, and then 2 local Japanese riders. And as we were doing the race, there was this one turn that was the most difficult, a pretty sharp corner coming around the front of the course, so where everyone was watching and could see. And the rider in front slid out, and Brittany and I fell after that, which is how I got this little scrape. But luckily, we were all fine, no injuries. I got a little scrape on my palm, but we all got back up and continued the race, and Yeah, I mean, that's racing, so that's part of it, you know. But overall, it was a fun day. The other racers were really nice, even though, you know, there was a kind of a communication barrier. I don't speak any Japanese, and we were kind of pointing at our bikes and, you know, making numbers with our hands to indicate what ratio we were riding. And I think that is what I really enjoy about doing these types of trips and traveling in general, is that you're able to, the bike and racing gives you sort of this segue to connect with people that otherwise you might not be sure about what to talk about, or you might feel that you can't connect because you don't speak the same language. And so I think it's just really beautiful to get to share that kind of experience and bond over, you know, a love of bikes and a love of sport and competition.
How have you been adjusting or liking the riding?
Riding in Tokyo has been interesting. I think one of the first things I realized about Tokyo, looking at the map and even just coming in from the airport, is just how big it is as a city. It's huge and it's sprawling and there's a lot of people, but it is very well designed. So I find it very easy to get between different parts of the city because they have these main roads that kind of connect everything, and then these little kind of offshoot neighborhoods with small narrow roads in between where people live, and you might have a strip that's all food. And so I find the city to be really well designed, easy to navigate, walkable. I think in order for things to run as smoothly as they do, everyone really has to abide by the rules of the road. So you'll see, you know, at a huge busy intersection, even with 50 people waiting at the light, everyone is in line, nobody jaywalks, and you kind of all walk at the same time. Coming from New York, where the flow is more fit where you can, don't hold people up, don't get in the way. If you can make the space, just go. Jaywalking, I think jaywalking was actually just legalized technically in New York. Whereas here, it's seen more as disrupting the order as opposed to fitting in with the flow. And so I don't think that one way is necessarily better than the other, but it is an adjustment to learn, you know, how they do things here and what is respectful and what is not. The attitude of the cars is a bit similar to New York. If you get in their way, they will honk at you. If they feel you are doing something out of the norm, they don't like it and they get mad at you, which is the same in New York. It's just that different things will sort of trigger that response. As a pedestrian, I find that the cars are much more respectful of your space and do not try to cut you off. One example is, you know, yesterday I saw a cop driving with his lights on, his sirens on, saying something through the speaker, and he still pulled up to a pretty empty intersection at a red light, made a full stop, and then blew the red light. If you're familiar with riding in New York, you would know that this is not the case there. I would say the riding style of other riders we've seen here, whether they're messengers or just other racers, is pretty similar to New York. One kind of style I noticed is that they mount and dismount very quickly. They also definitely stop at lights a little bit more than we do, but of course you'll still see people going through them, but you know, not cutting pedestrians off or anything, being very respectful of the people on the street. You also see a lot of kids walking by themselves here, as young as like 5 years old, which I think is a real testament to the safety that you feel being here. And I think that that is a very nice aspect of the city that I've seen.
Have you had any issues riding a bicycle in Japan with no brakes?
No, I have not, in terms of people saying anything or getting stopped by the cops. However, you know, talking to people about it, we know that it is technically, well, not just technically, it is illegal and frowned upon. And yeah, we're gonna cut back in here. And so it's hard, like, my thing is I just, and this is how I ride in New York too, I really try to not interrupt other people's movements. If you're walking in a straight line, I'm gonna try to go around you. I don't wanna cause you to stop your movement. And so I think that really the biggest thing to riding a brakeless bike anywhere, but especially in Japan, is just being very aware of the people around you and not getting in their way. And if you're not causing an issue for them, they're not going to be looking at your bike and wondering if it has a brake or not.
What your idea of the meaning of life is?
What my idea of the meaning of life is?
Yeah, what's your idea of the meaning
I
of
love
life?
talking about the meaning of life. Recently, I really believe that the meaning of life stems from connection and relationships. So, you know, whether that is family, friends, racing, colleagues, collaborators, I think that life, and it's true, right? Life comes from two people, two different beings connecting and coming together. And I think that is at the center of it, and that is where we get the most value, whether that is just the simple pleasure of being around somebody that you love, or, you know, sort of the opposite feeling of maybe feelings of discouragement or frustration of debate and arguing with somebody about how things should be. But in either sort of side of it, whether it's like the love side or the fighting side, I think that the togetherness is what kind of pushes us forward and creates something that we call meaning. I like that. That kid was just like play fighting in the street, kind of jumped out in front of me. His parents said, "Come on, get back over here."
How do you feel about traveling with a bike to new places?
I love traveling with a bike. I think that it can be difficult to find your setup, you know, learning how to build your bike, finding the right bag, understanding airline policies and like all of that stuff. But once you get it down, it's actually pretty simple, especially traveling with a track bike. I've traveled to other places. I've traveled to Mexico City, Paris, Zurich, Amsterdam, California. I think that what I enjoy about traveling with a bike is meeting other people in different places that are doing similar things that as I am, and find value in similar things, whether that is messenger culture or fixed gear racing or just commuting. And it kind of shows you that even though everyone is different and everyone has a different style to how they ride or what is acceptable in terms of the etiquette of the road, you know, we all really have the same base kind of wants and needs and are all fulfilled by the freedom and I think physical sensation that riding a bike brings. And I think when you travel the world and sort of see the same ideas coming up, you start to realize what the core thing that is important to you is, if that, yeah. Hopefully that makes sense.
And what is that to you?
The core things?
Yeah, what are the core things that are important to you?
I think one is, like I was saying before, having relationships with other people. I think loneliness is a really big problem in today's society. And I think that that bikes and bike community is a strong force against that. I think that being able to support yourself with a job that you feel proud of providing an important service and contribution to society and feels healthy for your body, like being a bike messenger. I think that having freedom of movement in where you can go in your physical space is very important. I think that sport and play, I think that play and creativity is really one of the sort of foundations of like innovation and oh my God, we're back.
Yep.
Where we started.
Yep.
And I think that
left turn. Hey,
we just saw a friend. That's Ray from Blue Lug. He's actually been super helpful while we've been here. He recommended us some good spots to eat and has just been a really nice host while we're in Japan. A lot of what we've been doing this trip, which is just talking about current events in the world and the structure of society and how we live, and we all have different opinions of how things should be, but are all able to bring ideas and kind of bounce it off each other. And I think that is extremely valuable to have that time with people, and to be able to take that space in a different physical space than where you're from, kind of talk about these things that you're thinking about and feeling, and then being able to go back and really ask yourself, like, okay, what am I going to do about it? How can I use my time to address, these things that we may not find ideal? Or how can I replicate things that I saw in another place that I found to be very beneficial to society? Not to say, okay, let me go back to New York and turn it into Tokyo, but just like, what are some different values and ways of life that I might not have seen before, and that I can learn from and use it to grow?
What's been your favorite meal so far, your favorite food so far that's Japanese?
My favorite meal so far? I thought you said it was going to be easy. I love the food here. Oh, okay, I know. Onigiri.
Really?
Oh yeah, from Family Mart. I wish we had something like that. I will say New York, I've recently found, or had some friends show me, some really good Japanese markets.
Yeah,
that
they have onigiri there.
Yes, and so you can find them in New York, and they're like small, independent, pretty affordable. Yeah, and honestly, that's something I really appreciate about Japan is their attention to detail, appreciation for quality and design and efficiency, and really working to build a city that is meant for people.
It definitely feels like people first, right? Whereas
Yes.
like a place like a lot of places in the US, even a lot of New York feels car first. I think the city is changing its structure a bit, and we're in growing pains right now of trying to figure that out, people first again, but yeah.
Totally. And like, look, I'm not against cars. Cars have their purpose, but like, I want, to see a kid walking down the street here by themselves, not being afraid of being hit and killed by a car is just, it feels like, honestly, like profound. It's like you wake up and you realize like we're living with like basically predators, which are cars.
We're here at a classic vending machine. Amelia's got 1,000 yen, and so what will she pick? What is her go-to drink?
Okay, so there's no Pocari Sweat.
So that already, you know her answer right there.
Things are a bit difficult now. I guess I'm gonna try this iced coffee up here. And it comes out very quick. Oh, this is not what I was expecting, actually.
Wow.
Oh, another thing about Japan, which honestly I don't love, is that they use a lot of coins.
You don't love that?
No.
I think it's awesome. I don't know. I like the coins.
They're always like jingling.
Yeah, you need everyone carries like a little like pouch.
I got a pouch from Blue Lug actually.
Oh, sick.
But
Yeah,
I got a
that's what they're
small
for.
one and
it
like
doesn't fit.
well then it's like I have to like find the one and I'm not used to what size is what amount. And
Yeah, a lot of people don't take the 1 yens. They don't even keep them.
I mean, that's how people are with pennies.
Because this one doesn't even take it. So they just take 10s. This one don't even take 5s, so.
Yeah, and most things end in a 0 anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get rid of the 1 yen and the penny.
Ramen or udon?
Ramen.
Sushi or sashimi?
I haven't had sushi yet here, so I can't answer that one.
Morning rides or night rides?
Morning rides.
Short, hard, fast city riding or long, steady all day, go the distance rides?
Long, steady, all day distance.
Flats or drums?
Flats.
Kickflip or heel flip?
Kickflip? Yeah, I would say that if you have the opportunity to travel, even if it seems difficult or scary or intimidating, you don't speak the language, it's uncomfortable, I would encourage you to go do it because it will be worth it. I promise.
So we bring to a close the story of rigid control through the unceasing research and the highest quality.